this scandalous story that I could not skip. Priest is jailed after refusing to open the door to an ambulance during his gay orgy, during which a man overdosed on erectile pills. That headline alone should never exist. Every element of that is corrupt. Priest is jailed. First of all, a priest should be a morally upstanding citizen. For refusing to open the door to an ambulance. What? How are you pastoral if you are refusing an ambulance in? During his gay orgy. What? I mean, it's not just preaching against sin. It's embracing and affirming sin and taking part in sin. During which a man overdosed on erectile pills. All of this is abhorrent. Anyway, this was a Roman Catholic priest, Father Thomas Zmarsley, who has been, I'm glad to say, defrocked. But what is going on? I mean, I don't need to comment on the pictures. Those pictures speak for themselves. We need to do something about the encroaching homosexuality in the church. The Pope needs to be clamping down on this. The Archbishop of Canterbury needs to be clamping down on this. It's corrupt, it's wrong, and it goes against God's good order. But I had to break. I don't want to dwell on it, but I had to raise that because it's just such a big headline this past week. But what I want to show you guys is this video with Bill Maher, because this really, really spoke to me. We talk quite a bit on here about pro-life issues. We talk about the liberals saying it's all about women's rights, women's choice, or it's about, freedom of this and that. But we know that to not be true. And I've said it many times that actually the argument is pro-life, protecting the sanctity of life, or pro-murder, essentially. But they never admit to that. But here we have Bill saying the quiet part out loud. Here, have a listen to this.
Not if you believe it's murder. That's why I don't understand the 15-week thing. Or the Trump's plan is, let's leave it to the states. You mean, so killing babies is okay in some states? Like, I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left on when they say, oh, you know what? They just hate women. People who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder. And it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you. That's my position on it. What?
That's quite harsh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Is
sure
that not your position if you're pro-choice?
Isn't that mainly because you don't like children? I mean,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
no. I mean, but if you are, you said you're pro-choice. That's your position too. Not if you believe it's murder.
Just wow. How absolutely wicked is that? First of all, the pause. That pause was painful. He was clearly waiting for people to laugh. People weren't laughing at that. You're talking about murdering babies, unborn babies. There's nothing more evil. However, he tried to rope Piers Morgan in. Like, what? You believe in this too, don't you? And Piers was like, did you see that? Did you notice that? He's like, He agreed quietly. But he's like, you don't say this part out loud. We know it's murder. We know we're killing them, but we support it. And his argument, what? There are too many people in the world already. We won't miss you. I mean, what does 8 billion matter? What if it's 10 billion, 20 billion? Like, the number of people in the world does not make any human life less valuable. I think we need, as conservatives, as Christians, to speak more on the importance of life, of protecting the vulnerable, whether that's women and children or if it's unborn babies, and just restoring the idea that men should be there to provide and protect, not to whatever Bill is doing here, promoting the idea of killing the most vulnerable people in society. We won't miss you. That's my position on that. I mean, Bill, we won't miss you, mate. It's time to go. Time to resign. Time to retire. Awful, awful television. Speaking of awful television, from awful television to awful music, take a look at this. I can't hear it, but I'm not actually bothered. What is this? I have never seen anything more overtly satanic. They're proud now. They're not even hiding it. It's not even subtle anymore. Back in the days, they used to say, play the music record backwards and you'll hear the satanic words. Oh, there we go.
There ain't no angels here on the dance floor.
think that's enough of that. They're just embracing Satanism, like openly having a demon there, being sick on him. What is he? What is Justin Timberlake trying to say in this? That he's a Satanist, or that he's mocking Christianity? I'm not sure what message it's supposed to put across, but none of it's good. And why I'm highlighting this is because we've seen Sam Smith, we've seen Rihanna, we've seen Beyonce and Jay-Z. We're seeing more and more of these massive, massive multi-millionaire artists overtly, flagrantly letting us know who they are, and more importantly, who they worship. I mean, it's sad when you've got people like, some of those what I've mentioned, who used to be Christian and have turned to the dark side. But you can almost see at the point in their careers where, well, people like Beyonce, right? You can almost see the point in their careers where they've sold their soul for success. But this Hollywood and this music industry and American television, it all needs to go. None of that is good for us. But what we need instead is more independent media. And obviously you've got us at the Lotus Eaters, but across the pond, you've got Tucker Carlson, who left Fox News because they went woke and set up his own thing. I'm not going to play the entirety of this interview, but I've got a little clip here that I'd like to show because I thought this is a fantastic example of how we can reclaim the media, how we can do good with the media if we do it independently. Yeah.
So I'm sincere. That was not opposed. I'm sincerely confused by the phrase Christian nationalism, which seems like an attack on Christianity to me.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, to the extent you understand it, and are you a Christian nationalist?
So I'm willing to be a Christian nationalist because
Okay.
because I prefer that phrase to the phrase I usually get called. So
What do you get? What do you usually get called?
white supremacist,
White supremacist.
slave advocate.
Oh,
I can relate. I've also been there. But by the way, Tucker Carlson's giggle always cracks me up. But if I skip ahead a little part here, I want to get to the definition of Christian nationalism, because the left and the liberals have been trying to paint it as a smear, using it as a slur. But it's actually a good thing. Here, let's see what Pastor Doug Wilson says.
I think very simple. If there is no God above the society, if there is no God above the state, take God away.
yes.
The state is God.
Yes.
Okay. If there is no God above the state is God. The state becomes God, and it assumes the prerogatives of deity. Cameras at every intersection, aping omniscience,
Yes.
omnipresence, in big brothers watching you.
Control of your mind.
Control of your mind. They want to control absolutely everything. Every keystroke, they want to control everything because they're aspiring to deity. The reason they're aspiring to deity is because they don't recognize any God above them. Our current rulers don't believe in God, but they do believe in the devil. Right? All right. And their belief in the devil is why they want to ascend the sides of the north. They want to be as the Most High. That was the initial temptation in the garden. You shall be as God.
Yes.
Okay. So our current rulers are very ambitious, and they want.
I've been saying this all along, and I think Pastor Doug Wilson articulates it far better than I do. But this is what individualism is. This is what liberalism is. It's about making a god of the self. And it goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, of the serpent whispering in Eve's ear, you can be a god too. You can be like God. And that's what this movement is all about. But the solution to that is Christian nationalism. It's saying, well, we support our nation. And if we want to be a good nation, then we make it Christian again. As Tucker Carlson said, you've got to make the country Christian again. And the pastor said, there is no political solution. And again, that's something I keep saying. There is no political solution to this. Jesus Christ is the only way, the only solution. And therefore, we should look to make our countries Christian again. That includes the United States and it includes Great Britain, both of which are Christian countries, but haven't been practicing as such. And so the Christian nationalist movement is all about putting Christ back at the center of the nation and being a nationalist, being supportive of your country, having borders, making sure that the laws are morally good, objectively good. And if the left want to smear that, so be it. They smear everything else. They try to paint everything else off as far right. Let them paint this off as far right too. But as long as we do it, that's what's important. Thank you for watching my Common Sense Crusade. If you'd like to watch the whole show, you can subscribe to lotuseaters.com for as little as £5 per month, and then you get access to a bank of content as well. My show is 3 p.m. every Thursday. See you there. Deus Vult.